All right, I'm trying to figure out if you're I know how fans are. Giant fans have just, canceled all their flights to Vegas for the second Sunday in February after last night. The good news for the New York Giants is that they have the Arizona Cardinals next week. Cardinals played well week 1, better than expected, but, they're going to beat the Arizona Cardinals.
They also play Washington, too.
Yeah, so that's the good news for the Giants. The bad news is that they looked incompetent on offense. And as much as I want to give, and I will, give a lot of credit to the Dallas Cowboy defense, 7 sacks, the interception return for a touchdown, I was sold a bill of goods, as you guys were, this summer, that Danny Jones, with all these new offensive weapons, were going to be a problem for everybody in the league. I never saw that.
No, you didn't see it, and the only bright spot was Darren Waller, thank God.
And he only had 3 catches.
And he had 3 catches, and this guy was dealing with a hamstring. Danny Jones, for most of the games, looked like somebody threw him in the back of a trunk. And it was the ski mask. Like, he just looked bewildered. He looked like he couldn't get his rhythm within the offense. And credit Mike Parsons and his defense. They harassed him early and often, and that Giants offensive line. I've been in games like that, man, where you just can't get right. You're going back to the sideline. You're screaming and yelling. Where is it coming from? What are we not seeing? You could tell there was no communication up front and with Daniel Jones. And that's tough, man. Like, this is the type of loss that lingers. And Danny Jones, I know he has to be the leader. He's being paid as one. But he's going to have to figure this out fast.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out. Look, they got beat down. You could throw the game in the garbage. Maybe you don't even watch game tape. It was that bad. And I don't want to overreact to one game. But I'm going to overreact to one game.
It's a fair one.
Because we were told that Joe Shane's this brilliant general manager, and they had made significant changes for their offense, right? The defense wasn't going to be a problem. It's the offense. Danny Jones needs weapons. I'm looking at the stat sheet. Where are they?
Well, he needs blockers. They were in his backfield all the time. And there are even run plays where they had the left guard to go pull, and he couldn't even get a hand on the defender. It just seemed like the Cowboys knew the play calls. They were just faster and better. And we always talk about, Danny Jones, what's going to happen when he has weapons? What's going to happen if he actually has weapons?
Yeah.
It does not matter if he doesn't have any time to throw.
Yeah, but here's the problem. They were down 16-0 right quick in the first quarter. And obviously your offensive game plan, shouldn't have to change that early. But it also, you have to contemplate changing it because now you're down by 2 scores right out of the gate, 16-0. Obviously, it wasn't the defense's fault. Wasn't even the offense's fault necessarily. Saquon, ball goes right through his hands.
Yep.
You get a blocked field goal. Next thing you know, you're looking up, gosh, we're down 16 points. All right. Here comes the high-flying offense, right? Here comes the Hyatt kid who runs a 4.240 going deep. Never saw it. Here comes Darren Waller getting 7, 8, 9 targets. Never saw it.
What happened to the Giants, Craig?
It's funny. I've always used and heard that phrase, your team got waxed.
Yes.
I don't know if I really knew exactly what it meant or looked like. Now I do.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a waxing last night. Look, I think if you're the New York Giants, no joke, it's back to the drawing board. As much as you want to throw one game out, look, there was all this promise built into the Giants season after last year's success. And then all the moves they made to try to give Daniel Jones all these weapons to support the fact that they gave him $82 million guaranteed over the next 2 years. He's supposed to be the guy. Greg Jennings says he's the 8th best quarterback in the NFL. And embarrassing. The New York Giants embarrassed themselves last night in front of 80,000 people and a national TV audience. And it was so bad, you now have to take a look in the mirror and try to figure out, is that really who you are? Because it wasn't like, your quarterback had a bad day. Let's write the loss off on your quarterback having a bad day. Everybody stunk.
It was not. First of all, let's give the Cowboys defense some credit. I mean, they pretty much flat out pulled. They shut them down. On top of that, Tevon Diggs was daring Danny Jones. I dare you to throw the ball.
He actually told him to stop throwing it.
Stop throwing it. I dare you. Don't do nothing. And Michael Parsons is a walking nightmare in cleats. The Cowboys defense, man, they look like they're Super Bowl ready. And the Giants was most disheartening. They just didn't have a response to anything. They didn't have a response to something. They couldn't adjust.
I don't want to accuse a team of quitting because I'm not in the huddle, I'm not on the sideline. But I know what I saw with my own 2 eyes yesterday.
They look shell-shocked.
And at 16-0,
yeah,
plenty of time to come back. Heck, New England did it against Philly and damn near came back and won that game, right? I felt watching the game. I'll be fair, not on the sideline, not in the locker room, not in the huddle. I felt like the Giants gave up.
Like
deer in the headlight look, the offensive line embarrassed themselves. And for a team that I thought was very well coached, a very disciplined team, they gave up.
I have to look in the mirror and wonder, is Brian Daboll who I think he is? Because what he did with Josh Allen to turn that Bills offense around and the culture change that happened with the New York Giants last year. Remember all those close games that they won? Yep. It just felt like this was a new attitude, a new team, a team that would never lose 40-0 in a night game to the Cowboys. A team that would never be accused by quitting by Craig Carton on the Carton Show.
I think they quit.
And it did feel like it made me question Daboll.
I mean, where was the fight, Willie? Walk me through how they didn't quit.
Well, they didn't quit because they didn't. I mean, no, I'm seriously. My perception of the Giants last night, to your point, is they looked shell-shocked. They looked like a team who didn't expect them to come out and look that bad. They expected Daniel Jones, as we talked about on the show, to put on the cape and make something happen.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. The Dallas Cowboys defense wouldn't let them throw the boots. They wouldn't have the misdirections, and they couldn't absolutely run the ball, and they couldn't stop Michael Parsons. When you have at least 5 guys on that Dallas defense get a sack with Daniel Jones, that's an indictment of the offensive line. And for me, when I look at the Giants as an offense, man, you talk about not having an identity, it's more like we needed somebody out of this new receiving group, Darren Waller, all parties involved, to do something, and nobody responded. That's what's more jarring to me out of all of it.
Look, I think, the offensive line obviously was the weak link for the New York Giants. They never brought a tight end in to help out. They never kept 2 backs in the backfield to help out. They really didn't give Daniel Jones a break there into stopping the onslaught of Cowboy blitzers. And by the way, sometimes they were just blitzing with their normal 4-down set on defense. They weren't bringing everybody, and they still got to Daniel Jones. And I'm telling you now, I'm watching the game, and I'm saying to myself, are the Giants that bad? And how do I know? How do I know?
You also have to wonder, are the Cowboys that good?
Another
2
question.
picks, 1 pick 6, a blocked field goal return for a touchdown, 5 forced fumbles.
Yeah.
5 forced fumbles.
Well, I'd like to know where all the Mike McCarthy haters are now, too. Everyone said, you're going to go to New York, Sunday Night Football. Dak's going to throw 3 picks. We all thought it, right? And it's going to be the beginning of the end of the Mike McCarthy run. And who's giving him flowers today? Because Mike McCarthy had the Dallas Cowboys better ready to play than Brian Daboll did with the New York Giants in their own building. And I don't want to hear about rain. I don't want to hear about anything else. All I know is that the Dallas Cowboys came in ready to kick some ass, and that's what they did. And there's a bigger picture for me on this now, too. And you could diminish this all you want, but I'll go to the mattresses on this one. I think this is a valuable lesson for all NFL teams. You do have to take the preseason seriously.
In what way?
You do at some point have to get your starters on a field of play. The Giants did one drive with Daniel Jones, and he scored a touchdown, and they were like, okay, $82 million. We got the goods. We're going to win a lot of games this year. In New England, Nick Sirianni said it after the game. I got to play my starters in August because we're rusty week 1. We haven't played in 6 months as a unit. So for all the nonsense we talk about, meaningless preseason games, and yes, there's going to be outliers to it where guys have great games. I want to be clear about that. But when you see a team come out that's supposed to be a really good team that looks that incompetent, I can easily backtrack the clock and say, what'd they do in the preseason? Oh, that's right. Nobody played. Why would I be surprised that they look like crap? They haven't played together in almost 8 months. And I think that's part of the reason you saw teams like the Giants really have a bad performance in week 1.
Yeah, anytime you see guys like Patrick Mahomes play longer in the preseason, that's indicative. Like if Patrick Mahomes, who won a Super Bowl, can play longer and stay out there and kind of work out the kinks, then a guy like Daniel Jones should be doing it as well.
Now, the big question is for all you Cowboy haters out there, and I'm talking about Cowboy fans, where are you today? Because if I was a Dallas Cowboy fan, I'm going to just walk you through this real quick. When I got to work today, and I work in a cubicle setting, like most Americans, I'd be peacocking. I'd be peacocking.
You have to.
Woo! Yeah. Sit next to that Giants fan in the cubicle or that Bengal fan in the cubicle, peacocking. Yeah. I'd be George Jefferson in it. Because all we ever hear about the Dallas Cowboys in the preseason is negativity. Dak Prescott's overrated. His legacy is ruined. He's not a champion. He's not blah, 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 blah. Jerry Jones is incompetent. Mike McCarthy can't coach, et cetera, et cetera. And all I saw last night was a dominant performance by a team that all of a sudden, we talk about San Francisco's defense.
Yep.
We've talked about the Eagles' defense, especially their defensive line, right?
Yep.
And yet the Dallas Cowboys defense had turnovers, had 7 sacks, had another half dozen hurries, and dominated a football game and made a bunch of grown men in their division quit at halftime. Hey there, thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.